Welcome to the Network Plus Prepcast, your dedicated audio companion for mastering every objective on the CompTIA Network Plus certification exam. This series is produced by baremetalcyber.com. In episode 92 of the Network Plus Prepcast, we dive into two essential technologies that support secure remote access: proxy servers and VPN gateways. These tools provide ways to connect users and systems securely across potentially insecure networks like the Internet. As organizations become increasingly distributed, enabling employees, partners, and contractors to work remotely, these technologies have become vital. They offer a way to route traffic through controlled, secure channels and protect internal systems from direct exposure. The exam expects you to understand how each of these devices functions and how they contribute to overall network security and architecture. Remote access technologies are used to extend the reach of corporate networks while maintaining strict control over who connects and how that connection is made. Proxies and VPN gateways play different roles, but are both focused on enhancing security, managing access, and supporting privacy. A proxy acts as an intermediary that handles network requests on behalf of a user or a system. It adds a layer of control and visibility. A VPN gateway, meanwhile, creates a secure, encrypted tunnel that connects remote users or networks back to internal resources. These two approaches are often used in parallel, depending on the organization's requirements and architecture. A proxy server acts on behalf of a client device when making network requests. Instead of the client contacting a remote server directly, the client sends its request to the proxy, which then relays that request to the destination. Once the proxy receives the response, it forwards it back to the client. This setup offers several benefits. First, it anonymizes the client by hiding its IP address. Second, it allows for centralized filtering and access control. Third, it enables caching of frequently accessed content. These functions make proxies useful for both security and performance, and you should understand them thoroughly for the exam. There are two major types of proxy servers that appear on the exam: forward proxies and reverse proxies. A forward proxy represents internal clients. It is placed in front of user devices and is used to control and manage outbound internet traffic. It can block access to certain websites, enforce content restrictions, and log user activity. A reverse proxy, on the other hand, is positioned in front of internal servers. It handles incoming requests from external users and forwards them to the appropriate back-end server. This setup is used to load balance requests, protect internal servers, and centralize access. One of the key advantages of using a proxy server is the ability to apply filtering policies to control traffic. Proxy filtering includes blocking specific uniform resource locations, filtering by keyword, or restricting access based on content categories. These controls are often applied in business and educational environments to enforce appropriate usage of network resources. Proxies can also log every request and response, providing an audit trail for security monitoring and compliance. For the certification exam, it's important to understand that proxy filtering and logging help organizations enforce acceptable use policies and track user behavior. Proxy servers also support caching, which enhances performance and reduces bandwidth usage. When a user requests a resource like a web page or file, the proxy stores a copy of that content locally. If another user requests the same resource, the proxy can serve it directly from its cache instead of fetching it again from the Internet. This reduces load times for users and minimizes external traffic. Caching is particularly useful in environments with repetitive or predictable web traffic. You may encounter exam questions that ask you to identify the performance benefits associated with this feature. A VPN gateway functions very differently from a proxy server. It does not act as a go-between in the traditional sense. Instead, it establishes a secure, encrypted connection between a remote client or network and a central network. This is achieved through tunneling protocols that wrap and encrypt data before it is sent across the Internet. The VPN gateway serves as the terminus for these tunnels and is responsible for decrypting the traffic and forwarding it to the appropriate internal destination. It also handles authentication, session tracking, and sometimes address assignment. Site-to-site VPNs are commonly used to create a permanent, always-on connection between two fixed locations. For example, a company might use a site-to-site VPN to link its headquarters with a remote office. The tunnel between the two VPN gateways remains active, allowing devices on both networks to communicate as if they were in the same location. Users don't need to launch a client or initiate a connection. Everything happens behind the scenes. This type of setup is ideal for secure, stable communication between offices and is a key concept to know for the exam. Remote access VPNs, in contrast, are designed for individual users who need to connect to the network temporarily. These VPNs require the use of client software that runs on the user's device. The software initiates a secure session by authenticating the user and establishing a tunnel with the VPN gateway. Once connected, the user can access internal resources such as file servers, databases, and intranet applications. This model is widely used by telecommuters, contractors, and mobile employees. Knowing the difference between site-to-site and remote access VPNs is a frequent point of comparison on the certification. Several different protocols support VPN functionality. IPsec, or Internet Protocol Security, is one of the most widely used for encrypting IP traffic. It is commonly used in both site-to-site and remote access configurations and provides strong authentication and encryption. SSL and TLS, typically associated with secure web browsing, are also used in VPN environments, particularly for browser-based VPNs that require no client software. Another option is L2TP, or Layer 2 Tunneling Protocol, which is often combined with IPsec to provide both tunneling and encryption. The exam may test your ability to distinguish between these protocols. One of the important design decisions when implementing a VPN is whether to use split tunneling or full tunneling. In a full tunnel setup, all traffic from the client, including web browsing and email, is routed through the encrypted tunnel to the corporate network. This allows the organization to monitor and control all activity, but it may reduce internet speed and increase load on the VPN gateway. In a split tunnel setup, only traffic destined for the internal network is sent through the tunnel. All other traffic, such as visiting public websites, goes directly to the internet. This reduces overhead, but creates potential security risks. Understanding the implications of each approach is essential for answering exam questions about remote access design. For more cyber content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other podcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Authentication is a core function of any VPN gateway and determines whether a user or device is allowed to establish a secure connection. Most commonly, this process starts with a username and password, which form the base layer of authentication. However, this method is often supplemented or replaced by certificate-based authentication, where digital certificates are issued to devices or users and used to prove identity during the connection process. Multi-factor authentication is increasingly common, requiring users to present two or more forms of verification, such as a one-time password or biometric data. This layered approach helps ensure that only authorized users gain access. The encryption provided by VPNs ensures that data remains confidential as it travels across insecure networks. This end-to-end protection means that even if someone intercepts the communication, they will be unable to read its contents without the appropriate decryption key. Strong ciphers and secure algorithms like Advanced Encryption Standard are used to scramble the data. The encryption process occurs before the traffic leaves the user's device and is only decrypted once it reaches the trusted VPN gateway. This mechanism is foundational for secure remote work and is often tested on the certification exam. Both proxy servers and VPN gateways generate logs that are useful for tracking sessions, monitoring activity, and troubleshooting issues. These logs might include details such as the source IP address, connection time, duration, amount of data transferred, and destination services accessed. In corporate environments, these logs are used to detect suspicious behavior, enforce compliance, and support audits. The ability to review and retain these logs is essential for effective security operations. Understanding the types of information logged by these devices and how they're used is part of the knowledge required for the exam. Firewalls play an important role in how VPN connections are handled within a network. Since VPNs require specific ports to function, Firewall configurations must be adjusted to allow the necessary traffic. For example, IPsec often uses port 500 for Internet Key Exchange and port 4500 for NAT traversal. SSL-based VPNs use port 443, which is commonly open by default. In addition to port management, firewalls also apply stateful inspection to ensure that traffic passing through a VPN connection is consistent and permitted. The firewall's ability to monitor and regulate VPN sessions adds another layer of protection. Using proxy servers for security provides several valuable benefits. They can anonymize traffic by masking the true IP address of the client, making it harder for external systems to track or target users. They can also enforce web usage policies by filtering or blocking access to specific categories of content. Some proxy systems even inspect traffic for malware or other threats before it reaches the user's device. In many environments, proxies act as the first line of defense by stopping unwanted or risky content at the edge of the network. The exam may include scenarios that require you to explain how proxies protect users and control access. In corporate settings, proxy servers are often used to support compliance and enforce company-wide internet usage policies. For example, a company may block access to social media during work hours or prevent users from visiting non-business websites. Proxy logs can be reviewed to ensure that employees are using resources appropriately and not violating policy. Additionally, proxies provide visibility into what content is being accessed, which can be useful for legal or security reviews. The ability to control and monitor usage centrally is a major advantage in regulated industries and is a key point for exam questions about access control. The physical and logical placement of VPN gateways within a network is another important topic. Most VPN gateways are located at the network border, where they serve as the entry point for all encrypted tunnels. This placement ensures that only authenticated and authorized traffic can pass into the internal network. In many designs, the gateway resides in a demilitarized zone, or DMZ, which acts as a buffer between the public internet and the protected internal environment. This setup allows traffic to be decrypted and inspected before it enters the core network. The gateway also interfaces with authentication servers such as Radius or LDAD to verify user credentials. At a high level, secure access technologies like proxies and VPN gateways work together to enhance connectivity while protecting the network. Proxies act as intermediaries that manage and filter traffic, while VPNs provide encrypted tunnels that connect remote users or offices securely to internal resources. These tools allow for centralized management of access policies, improved visibility into activity, and reduced risk of data breaches. They form the foundation of many secure network architectures and are especially important in today's remote and hybrid work environments. To review, proxies and VPN gateways play crucial roles in enabling secure access to network resources. A proxy server handles requests on behalf of the user or the server, adds controls, caches frequently accessed content, and filters traffic. A VPN gateway establishes encrypted tunnels for remote communication, authenticates users, and ensures that sensitive data is transmitted safely across untrusted networks. Together, they form a layered approach to remote access security, allowing organizations to extend services without compromising confidentiality, integrity, or availability. The exam will expect you to understand how each of these technologies works, how they differ, and how they are applied in real-world network designs. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Network Plus Prepcast, your trusted audio guide to the CompTIA Network Plus certification. This episode was produced by baremetalcyber.com. For more cybersecurity podcasts, books, and resources, visit baremetalcyber.com. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cyber Security Plus podcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com. And before you take the test, make sure to check out the practice questions in the book Achieve CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. They cover every domain and are a powerful way to lock in your knowledge.